We're live. Oh. Oh my god. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm great.
That's it sounded painful.
I hope it was an important part of my blurn.
What?
Hi, everybody. Welcome. It's Cryptic Puzzle.
Ugh.
I'm going to quote 30 Rock.
Ugh.
That's what the show is.
This is a great start.
Today, it's the show. I'm Andy.
I'm Tommy, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Today.
And we're gonna talk about a little game called A Short Hike.
Oh. Is that what this one's called?
Yeah.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I finally played it. I've been waiting for too long, in fact. This game's what? Like it came out before the pandemic, didn't it? I think it was like a
Yeah, probably like 2018 or 2019.
yeah. 2019. I checked. Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
I finally played it.
I remember hearing a lot about it when it came out, which is surprising for such a tiny like relatively small indie project. But I remember hearing when it dropped and a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah, I think I heard about it from you actually. So, um
Yeah.
this is definitely as I said to you, I think the first thing that I said to you about the game after I started playing it before I was done with it was, "Wow, this is the most Andy game that's ever been made." And then like everything all made sense all at once.
Yeah. Yep. I mean, yes. Hence why I tell everyone I think it's kind of an everyone game. Like you're right that it specifically caters to me, but I really do recommend it to like literally anyone who's ever touched a video game controller because I think it's meant to be played by everyone.
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I would also recommend it to anyone because it's not a difficulty thing. It in theory has like a goal and an end. Or you could choose not to deal with that pretty much at all, and you can just enjoy yourself playing this game. It's somewhere between like a walking simulator kind of game and Breath of the Wild exploration and climbing, which sounds like both of your favorite things at once.
I
You
don't
know?
like walking sims at all.
Oh, really?
Yeah. When have,
You,
when have
didn't
we
you
ever
you just
talked about a walking
didn't
sim?
you just play that one game by the company that makes the cool walking sims and you're like, "Oh, yeah, it was
Yeah, and I
good."
was kind of well, okay, here's the
Yeah,
thing. He's talking about
Sword of the
Sword
Sea.
of the Sea.
Yeah.
And here's the thing is they don't make walking sims. The Pathless is very much not a walking sim
Oh
like
yeah,
at
I
all.
definitely don't know anything about the Pathless. Yeah, no, I mean
And
the walking sims is super reduction of a lot of games. I really don't care for that in general, but
I don't think it's a bad term though cuz there are games that are walking sims, but I can see why people would have problems with them.
yeah, it's like I think it makes sense for like a limbo or something. But anyway, aside from
Um
that, yeah, maybe I'm trying to think of like it is literally called a short hike. So it is
it
hard
okay.
to argue that it's not somewhat a walking sim, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I would argue that it's not. Here, a short hike is a game where you play as this cute little bird called Claire, who you can see on screen. And basically, there's this opening cutscene that says like, "Hey, we're going on vacation," um, and you're in a car, and like literally, you're like on summer vacation with your aunt on this cute little island. Um, and it is exactly as described on the tin. The game is meant to be like a game you play in one or two short sittings. And basically, Claire is trying to get to the top of this mountain because she has no cell service and she wants to call her mom. And that's like it. She's like, I wanna call my mom. I want to check in with her. And so your job is to get to the top of this tiny little mountain, which you can't do immediately from the beginning. You have to acquire these little golden feathers that allow you to jump or climb higher. And that's like the entire game. It also has a little bit of like an Animal Crossing kind of flair to it with the way the characters display and like their cute little dialogue, you know?
Yeah, I feel like this game like was one of the things that contributed to people using like the cozy game term in terms of like style and vibes, and I dig it a lot. I think it falls into that. I think this qualifies as a cozy game, not just in vibes. I think it's great.
Sure.
I Yeah, I was not completely taken aback by this game, mostly because you had already recommended it to me so highly, and everything. But man, I'm surprised for me at how kind of just easily I sank into the vibes of this game and being like, "Oh, yeah, I just wanna walk around. Let's just go see what's on this mountain, and, we'll just get to the top eventually and let Claire do her thing," you know? Um,
Yeah.
Because that just seems like I assume the intention of anyone playing this game is that's kind of what you're supposed to look at it and do. It's just like, "Yeah, I'll just walk around and I'll get to the top eventually, I guess," you
Yeah,
know?
you know, it's and I think that's because the presentation is so good. Like it has this sort of like retro 3D vibe to it. And you know, combined with the game feel, like the game just feels so great to run around and play. And as you can see, like even 10 seconds into the game, you just start finding like items and neat characters and treasure chests. And so I feel like so quickly you're just like, "Hey, what's going on over there? Hey, what's going on over there?" And like you just fall right into the little exploration that they want you to, you know?
Yeah, and, like, we're having, like, a little cute conversation right now, and I think all the dialogue in this game, it's both emblematic of a style of indie game that I think can get, like, potentially really snarky or falling into certain traps, but every conversation ends up reading like a really kind of genuinely clever little set of banter between 2 friends or acquaintances or even total strangers sometimes. And it's really endearing, and I like it, and I think that was the
Yeah.
thing that sort of made me go, "Oh, I wasn't expecting that from this game, like, at all,"
Yeah,
you know?
and it's very wholesome, you know, as much as the characters like have a hint of sarcasm or snark from time to time, the game is just so overwhelmingly positive and wholesome that like you can't be mad at it because it's not trying to pull any punches or be edgy even a little bit. Like every character is just like goofy and happy go lucky and very silly.
Yeah,
I
I
love the dude who like very early teaches you to climb and he's like, "Hey, try climbing this." And there's like a little kid on there and he's like all caps. He's like, "Not everybody can climb. It's only for the people with the strongest dispositions and strength in their heart." And he's like yelling at you and the other dude's like, "Bro, chill out."
yeah, he's like, "Relax, dude, we're just climbing, it's not that big a deal." He's like, "I like it too,
Like
but, like, chill, it's fine."
yeah, like every interaction is like that. You're just like, "Oh man, I love everybody. I love everybody here."
The escalation of that, so this also kind of does happen with other, little NPCs that are on the island as well, but the escalation of that one in particular really got me because as you like, if you come back so you get the, you Andy mentioned the golden feathers, so that's what ultimately ends up just being a stamina bar that lets you climb. And you can get more and more of them, which will let you climb further and further and stuff, obviously. So the more of them you have, the more you can do, and the higher you can climb. And certain surfaces will, block off areas until you explore and get more stuff. So it kind of puts you into a really good explore in order to gain the ability to explore more. And all the stuff that you're doing along the way is interesting. Um, Oh, I had another, adjacent point. Oh, yeah, with the climbing stuff, because you can get a bunch of the golden feathers, like, really easily, there's, like, the 2 heights of wall in the beginning that you're climbing, and you can just, like, go right up the higher wall that he's, like, struggling with, and he's like, "Oh, okay," because he's realizing that you're better at climbing than he is, even though you just showed up, like, 30 seconds ago, and then when you're going up the mountain later, like, he's struggling, he eventually makes it, but he's like, "I can't believe this random person is just so much better at climbing than me."
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Did I ever tell you the story of when I played this game for the first time?
Maybe you did, but you should recount it for the podcast either way.
Yeah, so god, this was a few years ago now. It's kind of a sad story to start. So my great-grandmother passed away a few years ago. Um and which was a real bummer. And um basically I think I had taken like Friday off of work and I was going to drive home for her funeral or her wake. I think it was just a wake. Um, and so I was already, like, really bummed out. And so that Friday morning, we had a fridge coming to our house because we had just moved into our house and we didn't have a fridge. And, like, basically the guy showed up and I was like, "All right, he's gonna bring the fridge in my house, hook it up, and then I'm gonna drive home for this wake." And what he did was he brought the fridge up my driveway and was like, "Oh, there's no way we're gonna be able to fit this fridge up those stairs." And was like, "We're gonna come back tomorrow." And then just left the fridge in the middle of my driveway. And I was like, What in the hell am I supposed to do right now?" And long story short, like 3 days later, there was still a fridge sitting in my driveway. But so what does this have to do with the short hike? So probably on the third day of that, like, horribly stressful, like, my grandmother had passed away. I didn't end up going to her wake. There still wasn't a fridge in my house. And I woke up at like 3 a.m. and just had like a horrible stress headache. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to bed. So at probably 3:30 a.m., I was like, I've never played a short hike, but I feel like now is the time. Like, everyone says they love this game. And just on a whim, I started playing this game literally in the middle of the night. And when my wife woke up like 2 hours later, I was like, "Hey, I beat this whole game and it's really great." And it like I don't know, it was such a like thing that like saved my mental health in a moment of like horrible despair that like I hold this game just so close to my heart. Is like, man, like, just sometimes something as wholesome as like a fun game with like a positive message like can hit you at the right time and like stick with you forever. So that's my long story about a short hike.
Wow. Yeah, okay. So, I definitely never heard that before. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
definitely would remember that. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Well, obviously, circumstances were a bummer. I'm glad this was a thing, that helped you get through a rough time, 'cause, this is what that game is, honestly.
Yeah.
It's not even that, like, anything, like, super crazy heavy happens in it or whatever. It's just, like, a really, despite the fact that every character is a little animal, it's a really human kind of experience game. Like, everyone's just doing something, and they'll just talk about what they're doing, and you'll be like, "Oh, okay, I guess that's cool." And that's that's it.
Yeah.
It's, like,
And that's it, yeah.
literally exactly what it would be like if you bumped into somebody on a hike and you started to chit chat for a bit and then be like, "Okay, bye." And that'll be it,
Yeah,
you know?
honestly, I feel like weirdly a lamer version of this game is that like there's like some secret about the mountain and you stumble onto a cave and the characters are like, "Oh, there's like a secret deep magic under the mountain that like someone's trying to cultivate for evil." That would be like such a worse version of this game, like
I
the
super
cliche.
agree. Oh my god.
Yeah. And like by just leaning into what does it look like to just like have a mundane fun day like in summer as a kid and it just like sort of freely roam like you probably literally did as a kid at some summer camp, and filling it with like real believable characters. And the stuff that is like gamey about this game ties all into that. Like the kid we saw who was building the sandcastles, you give him the shovel, which is great, and then if you come back later there's a golden feather there that he like digs up while he's building sandcastles. So like the video gamey way that they're rewarding you with golden feathers like just ties into like you actually getting immersed in and experiencing the world like the way you really would, which I think is why it works.
Yeah, and, I told you this, but, like, this guy that, is getting chatted to on screen right now, the, like, ranger guy, I don't know if this is the gift shop basically or whatever, and he's only got 1 golden feather left to sell you, um, because somebody else bought a whole bunch of them. But I was like, "Oh, that'll be the thing," because I hadn't found any in the environment or whatever. I was under the assumption that the golden feather was, like, an item that would let me do a specific thing, like, more like a Zelda item, basically, like, "Oh, cool, now I can do this one thing." Not that there was gonna be 20 of them. That was gonna be increasingly useful the more of them that I had. So I was wandering around and I found one. I was like, "Oh, did I find a way around needing to pay this guy however many coins it was to buy the golden feather?" It was like, no, as it turns out, that was just not how this game worked at all. So when I say I went into this without really understanding like what its deal was. Like, I went in actually, like, quite blind mechanically. I just knew that I was gonna enjoy the vibes based on what you talked about, you know? I genuinely
Yeah.
was like, "I don't know what kinda game this is at all other than that I'm a little bird in a cool place with
Yeah.
a nice vibe."
Yeah, this game is Breath of the Wild, but what if it was pea-sized, you know?
Yeah, and you know what? The thing that I you and I have talked endlessly about, the newer Zelda games, and your strong like, my enjoyment of Breath of the Wild, but your strong preferences in the way that you play games gelling with it so much. Um, Richard, this episode will probably be about as long as a casual playthrough of this, if I had to guess. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, as Andy mentioned, he's like, "Yeah, I beat the game in, like, 2 hours," and you did, like, everything. Yeah, I
Yeah, I
did
100%ed it in, like, 2
yeah,
hours.
I didn't quite do that, and I did that. I took my sweet time with it, and I did it in about 2 hours myself. It's very short. I did realize when I looked at the trophies, because there's a whole bunch of them where it's like, "Get all the blank," and I have, like, what I assume is most of them, but not all of them. I forgot to go back to the boat lady, because I just couldn't find it again after a while, and then I got distracted doing other stuff, and I never did that. That's the one thing
Oh,
I didn't do. There's a
yeah, that's a fun one.
yeah, there's a lady with the boat, so if I ever play this game again, um, I'll do
Wait,
it.
so did you do the boat race, like, at all?
No, no, because I didn't have enough coins the
Oh,
first
dude.
time I went, yeah, so I'm gonna have to go back
Aw.
and do that, yeah.
I don't wanna spoil it, but, like, there is, like, a 10 out of 10 hilarious moment in that turns into, like, sorta this mini quest that is, like, one of the best little quests in the whole game.
Yeah, I'm bummed. I totally intended on going back to do it because, I super believe you because I loved all the cute little moments that came out of, like, everything in this game. Like, my favorite interaction, I think, in the whole game is, there's the people who are about to do, like, the half marathon or the marathon or whatever it is, and they're running around, and there's the lady with the rabbit lady. I think her name was Sue, I think? And she's like, oh, I'm so distraught. I lost my lucky headband." And you're like, "Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
well, if I find it, I'll let you know." And you run, and, like, not that far away is a turtle, and he's running around too, and he's got a red headband on that's just like the one that she described, and you can walk up and be like, "Hey, I mean, this is gonna be a weird question, but did you, like, pick that headband up somewhere?" And he's like, "No, actually, no, I wore this in. I have a whole bunch of these." And then he's like, "Why do you ask?" He's like, "Oh, well, I talked to this lady, she lost her lucky headband." And he's literally just like, "Oh, I got a whole bunch of these. Don't worry about that. She can have mine. Here you go." And he just gives it to you to take to her. And when you bring it back to her, she's like, "Oh, wait, I mean, that one's not mine. It's not quite the right shade of red." And then uh, she's like, "Well, where did you get that?" And then you go, "Oh, well, this like turtle guy who was running nearby, gave it to me and said to give it to you." And she starts freaking out because she's like, "Oh, he's like the regional champion, and this is more than twice as lucky as my red headband. I'm gonna put this on." And she puts it on, and she starts running, and she's training, she's all amped up, and it's just a really great, wonderful interaction. And if you come back later, eventually she goes, "You know what? I don't need the headband at all. I just need to do it because it all exists within me to be good at racing and running." It's great. I love it.
And she gives you the headband.
Yeah, and she gives it back and you can wear it. It's great.
Yeah.
And then if you go and talk to the turtle guy, I don't remember what the whole dialogue thing is, but he's like, "Hey, there's one thing you need to know about me. I go fast." It's really good.
Yeah, dude. Every little piece of this game is great. I'm glad that for whatever reason you just decided to try it because, like, I don't know. For me, this game is like an absolute 10 out of 10, and I would recommend it to everybody. But like, I'm glad you had as much fun with it as I did. And like, I think that's the other thing too is the game is just so much fun. Like whether it's an NPC or whether you're finding something to dig up, or even just like jumping and flying feels so good. It's just a great like game feel, pick up and play kind of game for anybody.
Yeah, it's just it's very simple. It's you jump, if you hold the button, you glide. If you keep tapping the button, you'll do like a little hop depending on how many golden feathers you have. um, and the golden feathers drain through his stamina. That's that's for the most part the mechanics. There are items that you can use with B or circle depending on the controller you're using. The first one that you'll probably find is just a stick, and as far as I'm aware, the stick is only used in the little like oh, I don't remember the name of their little volleyball game they come up with where you smack the ball with the stick.
Oh, yeah, they give it, like, a dumb
Yeah,
name.
they give it a silly name even though it's like it's just any other sport with a net in the middle,
And
which is
he's like, "Isn't
fine.
this like volleyball?" And they're like, "No,
They're
it's
like, "No,
nothing
it's
like
different."
volleyball."
Yeah, I did the 30 in a row for that, and he gives you the hat when you do it. I was like, "Yeah." I didn't even know that I was gonna do that, I just, like, went for it, uh, and I got
Yep.
32, and he was like, "Oh, I don't even have anything else, but I gotta figure something out." I think
Yeah.
actually no, the second funniest, maybe the funniest in conjunction with I Go Fast, is when you get 20 and he's like, "Ah, I gotta give you something for that," and you're like, I mean, you don't have to." He's like, "No, no, no, really, I gotta," and then he's like, "Here, let me give you all the money in my pocket," and it's like not a tiny amount of money, and then you're just like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 you don't have to do that." He's like, "Nah, man, don't worry about it. My parents are rich."
It's
It's
just
just
so
so
silly.
I was like, "Oh, okay."
So
This is the
silly.
one joke that, like, caught me super off guard. It was very good. Yeah.
Yeah, there's also fishing, which is a neat little mechanic, and in any other game, I probably wouldn't have engaged with it, but, I 100%ed the fishing too. That's probably the one thing that, gets, like, borderline tedious because you can actually go in, you give there's, like, a fisherman guy on a boat, and you can give him every time you catch a new fish, you can give him one, and he'll give you some cash, which is neat. Probably the best way to make money in the game is doing that. And I think he gives you like a catalog of fish and it'll describe like where each fish is. So it'll be like, oh, they like, this one will be found at sea level in salt water, or it'll be like this one, will be found in rapids. And there's always like one fish. I've 100%ed this game twice. There's always one fish that I'm always like running around trying to figure out like which is the one little lake or rapids that I can find this thing. Um, but it's great. It's fun and it's easy and I feel like it fits the game thematically so well because like even the guy who teaches you how to fish, he's like, bro, it's all about just like chilling out for a second, like relax. And your character's like, I don't know how to relax.
Yeah, I ended up just kind of in most places that you could clearly see that there were fish around, I would just cast my pole out just to see what I would find, just for fun, because it was usually very quick to get a nibble and then do it anyways. Like it's not even you don't even have to really truly be super patient. But yeah, that first little interaction where he teaches you, because you cast the pole out and Claire's immediately like, "So what do I do now?" And he's like, "You just wait."
You wait, yeah.
And then she's like, "Am I doing it right?" He's like, "Yep, you're waiting." And then after like 2 or 3 more of those, he's just like, "You just gotta you just gotta let it happen, you know?" He's doesn't really know exactly how to explain it. It's like, "You'll get it." And then eventually you do catch a fish. He's like, "See? See how easy
Yeah.
that was?"
Yeah, it's great. I will say it's interesting that when you reach the not the of the mountain, but when you get high enough, they do put a twist on the mechanics where your your golden feathers freeze because you get so high that it starts to get cold and snowy, and your golden feathers won't regenerate until you run into a hot spring and warm up, which is neat. And there's also the character who wants like 7 or 8 golden feathers from you so that they can make it to the top so you can lend them to them. Right? Is it 7 or 8?
Yeah, that was the one thing that ended up making me go, "Oh," because like, mechanically, I wasn't super like, I thought it was cool the way they did, with the cold. I was like, how is there gonna be any restriction on this once I get more than, like 7 of these? Because it seems like that's just gonna be out of control if I can just quickly regenerate my stamina everywhere all the time. And then that layer happens, it's like, "Oh, okay, got it." Immediately, you see how they limit you. Um, but yeah, I
Yeah, and it
think
makes it just feel like, it makes it feel a tiny bit more like there's adversity towards the top, which is neat, and it's really not even enough to stop you if you have enough feathers, but it makes you feel, I don't know, you're a little bit more immersed in that, like, it's a challenge to get to the top, you know?
Yeah, like, I had, before I got to the top, I think I had 14, something like that. I had, like, most of them, not all of them, because I think all of them's 20, if I remember right.
I think it's actually weirdly, like, 19.
Oh, really? Either way,
I could be wrong, but I
yeah.
feel like it's a weird number.
Yeah, I ended up with 16 at the end, but yeah, when I got to the top, I had 14 initially, and because you start going up and you're seeing this person also climb, and they're like, "Whew, this is pretty tough. I don't know if I'm gonna make it." And they get like right to the top. Well, not right to the top, but like right to the like the last thing, last gap before the top. And they're like, "I can't make this. I don't have enough golden feathers." And initially they're like, "Hey, can you keep a lookout? Like I heard there was like a secret alternate route to get there." And so I went around looking for that even though I easily could brute force that spot because of the amount of feathers I had. And so I'm wandering around and I go and I'm like, and I can't really find anything. And then I go and I find like a different way to get there basically, but it requires you to glide and stuff. And so, you know, I go and I hit to the top and I do the whole we'll talk about the actual like end I guess later. And I do that, but you can just continue to like do stuff around the mountain after you do that. It doesn't like end the game immediately or something like that. And I went back down to talk to the character, and they had the conversation that I just had. They're like, "Hey, did you find the secret thing?" And he was like, "Yeah, I was looking for one, but the only one that I found required you to fly." And the person you're talking to is like, they're like are they a fox? I can't remember what they were.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And they clearly can't fly, and so they're like, "Oh, bummer." And then they're like, "Well, I think they want 6 golden feathers."
Something like
So
that.
I hand over 6 when I had 14, but what I didn't really remember was that right I think the first time, you start to, like, see some signs around, "Hey, you know, here's where it starts to get a little more treacherous and the hike gets harder," you're gonna want at least this many golden feathers, or you need this many to get to the top kinda thing, and I think that
Mhm.
number is 7. So
It is
now
7, yeah.
yeah, so now I had 8, and I was like, "Oh, I can't brute force this last spot anymore."
Yeah, yeah.
So so I needed to get back to the top with a more creative way of getting to the spot that I figured out to fly from, to then meet that person up there, give them their little high five and congratulations, and talk to them about how cool the view was, and then they just give you your feathers back. They're like, "Thanks, man. It's, like, super cool that you let me do that. I'm really glad I got to come up here." And that's just
Yeah.
it.
It just, yeah, it's just, like, it feels good to, like, in what other game can you, like, give someone, it'd be like in Breath of the Wild if you can give someone, like, 6 hearts to fight a boss, and then you meet up with them after the boss. Like, in what other game can you lend somebody your abilities just as a favor, just to be nice?
I like here's the thing, I really as somebody who normally is not super about, like, social link mechanics in a lot of things, I want that to be the social link mechanic in a game and have that be their way of making the next sequence hard, and also it gains you brownie points with whoever it is you're doing the thing for, you know? That's I
Yeah.
wanna see that kinda thing incorporated in there because it gives you a neat little mechanical restriction to force you to play the game differently than you otherwise would have been with your, I guess, then previous, otherwise current kit, while also potentially dangling a little carrot of just like, "Hey, this isn't super important, but if you care about it, you can do it," you know?
Yeah, and, like, I think it's interesting too because in any sort of social link scenario, like, basically Claire, you would have to suspend your belief, or at least you would have to say, like, well, Claire is doing this guy a favor. But by, like, literally relinquishing your abilities as the player and by giving up something that you've earned, it does feel like you are sacrificing something for this character in a way that if it was just like, Claire, can you give me a high five, or can you give me an encouragement? But, like, you as the player have to give up something, and that makes it feel more interesting.
I think that would also be, like, a neat way to, I mean, we've talked about, balancing a little bit in some of the games that we've talked about, but, like, in the Expedition 33 case where we talked about how how, like, bonkers the scaling and everything gets towards the end and how it's a little all over the place and the side content is way more difficult than the mainline content. I wonder if something like that, having a solution in a game that would, like, de-level you to help, like, self-mitigate that problem with, like, a different carrot, you know what I mean? I wonder exactly
Yeah.
how you could incorporate something like that in a way that would be, enticing or worthwhile, but I don't know, it worked here. I thought it was a really, really, really neat little even just, storytelling through mechanics thing. Like, that's one of my favorite things in, video games because it's something you can only do in a video game. Make the interactivity and a thing that you're doing part of the story of what's happening. If you can do
Yeah.
that, you've succeeded as a video game, you know? At least in my opinion.
Yeah, I like that it considers the perspective of the player and not just Claire. You know, like that's such an interesting, simple solution. I feel like for other games to consider, like, can the player make an interesting choice, or can you make the player sacrifice something that they have? Um, and yeah, like you said, that's something that like a movie or a TV show cannot do. Is consider the perspective of what the player has to do in terms of interaction. It's a very like Nintendo idea to give up your feathers to another character, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I wonder darn, I had another specific mechanic thought that just escaped me because I started watching, Claire shovel at the rock, which just money just comes out of it because it's like, "Oh, there must be some kind of, I don't know, precious metal or whatever," but that does come up
That's
later.
just an Animal Crossing thing.
Well, there's also that too, yeah,
Yeah.
but
They just borrowed it.
but, I it's really funny because I think if you come back and talk to your aunt later, you, like, mention a rock, and you're like, "Yeah, I started hitting this rock and, like, money started coming out of it." She's like, "What are you talking about? That's ridiculous. That doesn't exist. Are you crazy? If that existed, the whole world would be different." And it's really
Yeah,
funny.
yeah. I will say, you mentioned earlier that, like, this game, uh, is, like, way too broken when you have too many feathers, and I gotta say, like, when you have almost all the feathers and the 2 silver feathers, which increase the height that you jump, like, one of my favorite things in the whole world to do is jump up, like, 12 times, which is essentially, like, half the height of the mountain when you have that many feathers, and then just, like, glide. Like, you really become the master of this game and this world when you can fly and jump that high, and you feel like you earned it. You're like, "Oh, I need to get up to the top of that cliff." Like, it's only 3 jumps, and I go, like, 60 feet in the air. It feels so cool.
Yeah, I didn't find the second silver feather, and it was one of the last things I found before I think I put the game down. But yeah, I remember having that thought of like, there can't be like more of these ones in particular, right? Because I it like more than like when you have both of them, it's like it's more than tripled the height you get from the jump, and it slows
Yeah, it's
down the
crazy.
stamina drain by like it's insane how much it like basically it takes your bar however big it is and it makes it like twice as efficient at
Have you
least.
did you find the cool island?
Which I did fly around. Um,
Oh, you didn't find the cool
I know.
island?
Here's the thing. I think I did, but I don't know the specific thing, and I don't know if I wanna.
No,
I'm gonna have to boot this game back up and double check because I
you would
did fly.
remember.
Yeah, I don't remember what was in because I remember finding something and going, oh, I didn't even know this was here. Isn't that no? That's where the
Oh,
silver feather is, isn't it? The second one.
that's where one of them is.
Oh, that's where one of them is. Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say I definitely did it because I got it. So
I don't know.
what do you mean you don't know? I got it. I did it. I got
Sorry.
there.
I feel like it would be more remarkable in your memory if you did it, because to me, it was, like, one of the coolest discoveries of the entire game.
I wonder if it's just not as heavy in my mind because I'm thinking so much about the characters and the dialogue. And like I said, I think that was like literally one of the last things I did, and then I went home, kind of thing. So I don't know. Yeah, but I mean, I did it. I definitely did it. I got that
Well,
silver
anyway,
feather. Well, because yeah, because the other one you get the guy's watch back or whatever.
is that how you get the other silver feather?
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah.
Yeah, so you gotta give him the college money.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was the other I think that was maybe my favorite, NPC interaction in the whole game because you see this guy and he's like, "Hey, I got some more golden feathers. I'm selling them for 100 coins a piece." And you're like, "100 coins a piece? They were selling them for 40 down at the shop." And he goes, "Well, you gotta do what you gotta do." And he's got 4 of them, and so you can buy 4 more of them, I think, or maybe it's not 4, it's like 2 or 3 or something like that. Um, and you buy them, and eventually it's like, "Ah, you bought my whole stock. I mean, thanks for the money. I've been using it to try and pay for college, but as it turns out, I did my math wrong, and I was still 400 coins short." And it's like, "Aw, well, that's kind of a bummer." But you can just come back and give him the money, and he's the guy who ends up giving you the watch. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I found this watch. Here you go."
And that's like that's so far from the beginning of the game too. Like the watch guy is one of the first people you talk to, and that guy is probably one of the last because you just have to get so many coins to get it back that you're like, oh, could this like there's like such a flash where you're like, oh, I remember like a long time ago somebody wanted a watch, right? Like it's such a far string of events
Yeah.
to like remember, you know?
Yeah, and I think the way that it's presented is it's easy, I think, because I think the initial, like, it could be read as, "Oh, he actually did find it," but I think the actual intent is he totally yoinked it from that guy with the intention of selling it to try and, make ends
Yeah.
meet. Like, he's clearly trying to hustle to get by kinda thing, right? That's his
Yes.
entire demeanor, everything about him. So, it's good. It's crazy how much, like, personality gets wrapped up in relatively short dialogue sequences and these little side quests. It's like, yeah, man, I met that guy before. It is what it is.
Yeah, what
That's what life is.
and yeah, and I think that's like emblematic of the whole game. It's shocking to me that this game only takes like 2 hours to 100% because I feel like the second time I played this game, I tried to recall how long it took me, and I was like, "Oh, it probably took me like 3 hours to beat it, and then like maybe another 2 to 100% it." And then like 20 minutes later, I had already made it to the top of the mountain with probably like 12 feathers, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's so much shorter than I thought it was." But this game like is so big in my head, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah, I think it's less the, like, actual amount of content and kind of how much all of it resonated with you, you know?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? If I were to play a game for 50 hours and then in a year be like, I actually don't really remember almost anything that happened in it. Like I think the when something is good, it sticks with you. Like it just has to, right? It will in some way it affects you, it imprints on you in some notable way. And I think that's just what this whole game is what if we cut away literally all of the fat and just gave you like a purely enjoyable, quick thing that didn't have anything
Yeah.
else to do other than just say its piece and be done, you know?
Yeah, and I think maybe it has to do a little bit as well with the density of the game and the richness of the game. Like even though this world is technically really really small, it just feels so big because there's so much to discover and there's so much personality with every interaction. And I mean, you what you said makes a lot of sense too, where like if you played a 50-hour game, you probably don't remember much, but I remember just about every interaction from this game. It lives rent free in my head.
Yeah, and there's exceptions, right? I'll bring up Expedition 33 again. That game was a little bit longer, and I remember a lot about that. But even that game, I don't remember as many details as this one, right? Just because there's less to remember, and it's simpler,
Yeah.
and what it's doing is more compact, right? When you said this game was like it's pretty much just like a pea-sized Breath of the Wild, that it's so funny how like simplistic an analogy that is that really does work at least like because we talked about how my experience with Breath of the Wild was I played it until I was like done with it, and I don't mean done with it as in I did everything. I meant, hey, I've expended about as much personal enjoyment as I'm going to get out of this. I'm going to go to the end now and be done with it, which is it's like how I'm trying to be with games more in general rather than try and squeeze, as much life out of them as possible because I feel like I'm kind of ruining certain things for myself when I don't have to. At least maybe not ruining, but uh, whatever. This game doesn't even give you the opportunity for that to happen, and I think that's why it's going to stick with me personally, even more than Breath of the Wild in terms of the vibes, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? I enjoyed my
Yeah.
time with the Breath of the Wild a lot. This is going to stick with me because it gave me a lot of those same vibes, plus a more personal thing, and it's just this neat little like like it's a short glass of a good drink. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It should be said that on my right arm I have a sleeve that is Tears of the Kingdom themed. So it has like Link falling through the sky and a bunch of the sky islands from Tears of the Kingdom, and on all of the different islands I have different characters, and on one of the islands is Claire from this game, because I was like, if there's ever any game that deserves space on my body, because it means so much to me, it's definitely this game.
Yeah, I remember seeing that and being like, "Wow, a short hike really stuck with you that much." And you've had that for a little bit now, and we've talked about it. But it was something else again more recently that I think, in conjunction with like realizing that you felt this strongly about the game and the singular comments that I don't even remember what it was. I just remember having the like, I've been playing too many long games anyway. I should play something that is like it just seems like a short hike is the distillation of everything that was things in video games I like that I hadn't played in a while, if that makes sense. Like a
Yeah.
whole subset of pieces of video game world and mechanics and blah 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 that I just hadn't really had in a bit. And man, that was a good idea. I'm glad I did it. I'm gonna give you
Yeah,
credit even though, like, you didn't go, "Hey, you should play a short hike," and then I did it, but you've been nudging me long enough where I think you still get primary credit here, you
oh yeah.
know?
I think to me it just like, especially because of the personal experience I had with this game where I was experiencing actual grief, and this game made me feel like better and more positive and more connected to the world. It's like, to me, like that's sort of emblematic of like what art is and why people should make it. Like, this game is clearly a very personal, heartfelt game that like came from the heart of the person who made it, which I think is a solo developer. It can't be a big team, that's for sure. um but it's just such a personal thing that like made me feel more positive about being here on earth. And like, what what else sums up why people make anything artistic than those two things?
Yeah, I'm like this. I guess we can talk about like what the end is because it's pretty quick and it's
Oh, let's do
brief.
it.
Yeah, it's good. Um, I think you're right in that I assume the idea of what this game was probably came about from a very specific personal experience. Because so you mentioned the phone call thing before, and you don't have service unless you get to the peak, the only place that actually has service. So that's why Claire's got to make the climb in order to make the or get the phone call because she's waiting for one. And her aunt asks her, is like, "Oh, well, what's it about?" And she just kind of goes, "Well, you know, the thing." And then her aunt's like, "Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay. Well, have fun on your hike. Um, so you get to the top, and her phone finally rings, and it's her mom. And she's like, "Hey, I'm doing pretty good." And then she's like, "So what was going on?" She's like, "Oh, I just got done with like a surgery or whatever." And she's literally just like, "Well, what the heck, mom? Why didn't you like tell me? Like you could have like at least told me like it so I could maybe take care of you or something like that." And her mom's just like, "Oh, I knew it'd be fine. I just really didn't want you to think about it or worry too much, but I'm doing good. So, how's the view?" And she's like, "Oh yeah, it's amazing. I've never seen anything like this." And then the current comes up from the like water area behind you that you've been able to like fly into currents that'll technically bring you up while you're gliding. And then your mom's like, "Oh wait, that's happening." And she's like, "That usually doesn't happen when you're up there. You really got to take the opportunity to do this right now. Love you, bye." And then you can choose to do it, which naturally you should, because I don't think it makes you do it if I remember right. I think you have to do it.
Yeah,
Y
yeah, it's just cool.
yeah, and then it shoots you high up above, where you would normally be able to climb to on the mountain because 'cause you're already at the peak, and then it kinda just, like, swings you down real quick, if you don't, like, do anything to glide, and it plops you back really close to the beginning, where your aunt was, the house, and it's a
What do you
really
mean?
cool view.
Did you not play that segment? It's not a cutscene.
Hmm?
You can just fly. It's not like a cutscene.
Oh, I know, yeah, but if you just,
Oh,
like, when you just let go of the stick, it just, like, dive bombs you.
yeah.
Well, the way that it seems like that I went around in a circle, like, where I ended up just dive bombing eventually after, like, looking around for a little bit, it plopped me, like, right in front of the house, and it felt really deliberate. I know it's not
Oh,
a
I didn't
cutscene,
wow.
yeah. It
Wow, I
felt
never
super
noticed that.
deliberate, yeah.
Hmm.
Maybe it
See,
just so happened to be that way for me.
I'm also wondering which one of us misremembered it. I thought that when you get to the top, Claire calls her mom, and Claire knew her mom was having surgery, but her mom was like, "Honey, like you're supposed to be on vacation. Like I'm fine." Is that not how that goes down?
Uh, she definitely gets the phone call. Maybe that is exactly how the conversation goes. I don't know. Either way, all I know is it was a sweet mother-daughter interaction about two people wanting not to, think too much about otherwise tough things, and yeah, it's good, and everything's fine.
It's yeah, it hits you for sure. I mean, I feel like anyone I've talked to that talked to about this game, like they're like, "Man, did the top of the mountain hit me in a way I just wasn't expecting." Like it's so uh it's just real, you know? It's heartfelt and it's real and it's really emotional for sure.
Well, yeah, that's the thing is I was like, "Aw." Like, it made me genuinely say out loud, "Aw, that's so sweet. I can't believe how sweet that is." Like,
I didn't cry,
yeah, it was single manly
obviously.
tear.
Obviously, I didn't cry.
Only one.
Yeah, it's all you get.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. Yeah, I really yeah, what a good game. Who's your favorite NPC? Did I already steal yours?
I think I think my favorite is the little climbing kid who just screams at you.
Yeah, he's so upset. He's so
He
mad.
yeah, he's so funny. I'm trying to think who else. I really like the sequence with the boat that you didn't do, but I don't know if that's because of the characters. That's just a really hilarious scenario.
Yeah, I really gotta go back and do that. I'm so glad that I looked to the trophy list just to remember. It's like, oh, I didn't do that. I gotta go back and do it because I intended on doing it. And I just didn't. Um, yeah, yeah. I'm definitely sticking with. I think Taylor the turtle saying I go fast. Is probably the best. And also the
Aw,
other
dude.
runners who are doing their lap, they will also say I go fast, so I assume they're copying him because he's like the local hero. Which
Yeah.
is awesome.
Yeah. See, you gotta trust me when I recommend good things to you. I recommend all of these positive, wonderful things that enrich your life and fill your life with meaning. Unlike you.
Yeah, no, I do that too. You just gotta remember that sometimes depressing things are artful and meaningful too, Andy.
Yeah, well, yes,
Watch Neon
sometimes.
Genesis Evangelion.
Don't do it.
Do it.
Sometimes they I you know, tell me you are dead. Tell me you are dead to me. Uh, sometimes depressing things are good.
Yeah, certainly this one's not a depressing thing though. Short Hike's the opposite of depressing. It's a very feel good game. And you know what? I think people can use good vibes, just in general. But these days people could use good vibes. You like video games? You wanna play something for cheap for a couple hours? I think it's like literally $8.
Yeah,
I think that's all it is. I don't think I got it on sale. I think it's just full price, like $8. Um,
worth every penny.
yep. Yeah, I would recommend to anybody. I played it on Steam. Andy, you played it on Switch? Question mark.
Yep,
There
at
you go.
338.
It's at least on those two things. I don't know what else it's on. It's probably on the other things too. But you know, if you don't have a Switch or a computer at this point, what are you doing?
And how are you listening to this?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the answer is phones. That's how.
Why would you be listening to this? If you don't own a single game console, why would you ever listen
You can
to
play
our
play play games on your phone,
Oh yeah,
like
you
the
like to play
kids.
games on your phone.
Yeah, listen, dude, we're old.
Our
Kids use technology very differently than us already.
Yeah,
They
but they're
like
not listening to
don't even know
they
what
don't own a
file folders are.
if they're not listening if they don't own a game console, they're not listening to this show, is for sure.
They don't even know what internet websites are.
They don't know how to save things because things
Only
don't save
TikTok.
anymore. They all save in the cloud. So if you do any project that requires kids to hit file save, they're like, "What do you mean?" They don't know. It's true.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're 800 years old.
I used to have a friend well, I still have a friend, but I used to work with her, and she used to do, like, an art project on computers, and she would teach the kids how to make, like a 5-frame animation, like, that was, like or maybe it was longer, but she was like, "We're gonna do, like, a digital art project," and she said she had to, like, abandon the project because, like, kids just kept hitting X and deleting all of their work, like, and she would teach them at the beginning, like, "You have to hit file save or you're gonna delete all of your work," and, like, that was what she spent all of her time doing, was just having kids be like, "I think I deleted the whole thing," and she's like, Why?"
Yeah, yeah. We just never taught those kids how to use computers. Whoops. Oops.
He's gonna play stickball. Did we miss what the name of it is?
I wasn't paying attention to what the name of it is. I was listening.
Dang
Beach
it.
Stickball, which it's not a good name. Full
Come
disclosure,
on.
kid. I'm
Are you
sorry.
kidding
It's
me?
not a it well, I didn't say it was a bad name.
It's
It's
very
just
descriptive.
it's
I'm
just
gonna say
definitely not a
that,
good name, you know?
bro.
You know what I
Don't
mean?
come down on beach stick ball boy.
I'm not. He gives you money because his parents are rich.
No, that's not this guy.
That is no, that is this guy. That's what I mean.
No, you said I
No,
thought you said it was the running boy.
no, it's this guy.
Oh, you know,
I
it's
love this
funny. I feel
game.
like me too. I feel like this game, you know that like famous quote about Miyamoto that's like he made Zelda because he wanted to make a game that captured what it was like to be a kid and like explore the woods in your backyard. I feel like this game gets super duper close to that exact experience, except it's got just like a little bit more of a summer camp vibe.
Yes, I super agree with that. Maybe we should
They
go back to that's the ethos for video games. We come up with that concept. We do everything like the old Japanese guys did back in the day. And Hideo Kojima, except he also likes his Hollywood guys, you know. So,
just be like, I made this game because I wanted to make the experience of what it's like to fall off of a bike, and then you just make that game.
yeah, I think that's called getting over it with Bennett Foddy.
And I made this game I wanted to capture the feeling of what it's like to pick up like a mug that's like a little bit too hot and it just like burns your fingertips in a way that's really unpleasant and you just make that game.
See, I want the game where it's not about specifically the burning your fingers part, but it's about you trying to keep the coffee in the mug while your fingers are burning because you almost spilled it by reacting, but you need to keep the coffee in the mug, and that's I want the game to be like that part of the experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just wanted to like as I was saying this to you, I was like I just want to make like a sketch where the sketch is like me in like a Japanese boardroom like pitching game ideas to executives and I'm just like it's like when you're sleeping and your cat jumps up, but like it kind of slips and it like scratches your leg in a way that's really painful and wakes you up. We should make that game. I'm just like,
Yeah, we should make a game. It's about going downstairs, but it's about getting the experience of going downstairs. And it gets like a little too dark, and you're not positive where the next step is. So you start to get more careful, and then your knees start to get unsteady because you get like worried psychologically, and your knees are tired. So you gotta, and so you gotta react. I've
and then
actually,
they're like,
you know the
and then
worst
they're
part. I
wait,
just
wait,
described
wait.
Death Stranding. I just
You
described Death
ruined my
Stranding.
joke. I was gonna say, and then they respond with like, "We already made Super Mario
No,
64.
but
Why
that
would we
that's
make it
it's
again?"
that would literally be like if I did that, we're like, Hideo Kojima already made Death Stranding. The only part you didn't talk about was the backpack. That was it.
Yeah, you ruined my joke.
Yeah, well,
Sometimes
it's
you gotta shut up for just like a second, you know what I mean?
no, nah,
Just for like a second, bro.
no, I don't think so.
I do. As someone who has spent time with you,
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the episode of Cryptic Puzzle where I stab Andy.
how did this
A
podcast
short
episode
hike.
for all of them become like so mean
A
and not
short a
wholesome?
short hike is the one where I stab Andy somehow, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Let's face it, I deserve it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, you said it. I didn't say that part. I just want everyone to be clear. I did threaten you first, but you did just be like, yeah, you know. So you can stand me back though if you live. How about that? I think that's fair.
So it's like a Rochambeau where you're gonna stab me first.
What
You're
is
like, "We're gonna take
what's I
we're
don't
gonna
think
take turns
how did we get here? I don't know how we did
take
it.
turns stabbing each other, and whoever gives up loses, but I'll go first." That's what you're saying?
It's just it's like a duel but slower and worse.
Jeez. Uh,
Ah.
well, look, honestly, this has been almost an hour, so this has been a pretty good little discussion
I
about
was
this game.
I was gonna say, I'm sure we could keep going on, but at that point, like if you're gonna listen to somebody talk about a short hike for more than an hour, you literally should just play it twice at that point. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like I feel like it would be such a disservice to this game to like talk about it for way too long when like the whole beauty of this game is that it's wonderful and you get everything you need in such a short period of time.
Yeah, I talked about a couple of my favorite moments. I assure you, there's probably others in here. There's NPCs, a whole bunch of NPCs that we didn't even talk about at all, and some of those might be your favorites too. And I hope they are. I hope you come across something playing this game that you know, uh, tickles and warms your heart in a good way, just like it did for me. You know,
Yeah, you should play it.
everyone should play it.
This has been Cryptic Puzzle.
What are we? What's the next one? Are we gonna do a topic? What are we gonna do? Have we talked about it?
Well, we're we're probably
Andy's
well
gonna be
if
very busy for the foreseeable future, so
yeah, there's a couple options. Option A is if you finish Ninja Gaiden, we could talk about Ninja Gaiden. Option B, well, actually, no. Option A is you have to play and beat Hollow Knight because all of the requirements have been
oh
met.
my
So at
god,
some
we didn't
point,
yeah, the final seal has been broken.
yes.
It's
So
real. I can't believe
it's
it.
so there's
It
a couple
figures
options.
I finally go and I say out loud on the internet my grand plan for what I think would be the funniest thing for Silk Song. And then Team Cherry was like, they heard it and they're like, we have to ruin this guy's day.
Yeah. So there's a few. So the few
So you can
options are
thank
Hollow
me.
Knight. In 2 weeks, I'm gonna be playing Silk Song, so it could very well be Silk Song if you play that with me. Option C is Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Option D is the new Shinobi game, which I might play when it comes out between then and Silk Song. Option I have a lot of options. The other option really is if you ever get a Switch 2 is to talk about DK Bonanza. And if it's not one of those 5 options, I don't know what it is because like you said, I'm gonna be having a baby soon. So, Silk Song is probably gonna be, like, my game for the rest of 2025.
Yeah, that's fair. Here's the thing.
And,
I think part of me wanting to dip my toe into short hike is kind of like I mentioned before. I've been playing so many long games that I kind of want to play some shorter ones. I'll definitely be finishing up Ninja Gaiden soonish, so that'll probably be on the table. Hollow
it's a good
Knight
one.
and Silk Song, I assume individually will both take like a little while at least, because we don't know for sure with Silk Song, but it is probably going to be bigger than Hollow Knight, and Hollow Knight ain't a small game. It's not the world's biggest game, but it ain't a small game. Um,
Yeah.
so we'll see. I think just in general, playing video games for you is going to be different, just in terms of timing and availability. And I assume maybe we both might prefer the short games thing. Me just for my brain health at this point and you for your schedule. So I think
Yeah,
we'll
and,
figure something out.
honestly, potentially more topics too, because I really liked doing the Switch topic episode, and I think, like, we did do a couple lighter ones that weren't about games. That's also, like, a nice option because, like, well, I don't know, it's like talking about a short hike is great, but there is a little bit of, like, a pressure of, like, "Well, we gotta talk about it and make sure we sound like smart boys," and so, like, we might just have to be like, "Let's just hop on the mic and, like, talk," and that can be the episode, you know?
Yeah, maybe we
Like,
make
have a
the whole
loose
format
topic.
more free form, you know? Like, maybe generally speaking, baseline is we're gonna chat about, like, what we've been playing, whether or not it's, like, a whole topic, and if we wanna dedicate a section of time to a specific game for an episode, we can, but we don't. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what ends up working with what we end up playing
Loosey-goosey.
and yada yada, you know?
Yeah, loosey-goosey is fun, and it's nice, and it's really only for a couple people that we do this anyway, and for ourselves. So if it needs to be loosey-goosey so that it's just, like, light, then we'll keep it loosey-goosey.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm like, I'm not making money off of doing this. We both have other careers that are paying the bills that are gonna take up most of the time, and other life things that are gonna take priority. But this is fun, and I'm glad we do this because it makes. I mean, not that you, not that it has ever stopped you from calling me just to talk about games for a couple hours, but having yet another excuse to do it is always a good thing. So
Yeah. Yeah. So it'll be loosey goosey. There's a couple games to look forward to in September. Um Shinobi and Silk Song being some of them. So who knows? We'll see.
the remake of Metal Gear Solid 3 came out today. I'm probably not gonna play it because 'cause I've already played Metal Gear Solid 3 a lot of times.
Is that actual
Maybe
factual?
maybe when it's on sale, yeah. I think Delta came out today. Pretty sure it did.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Well,
Yeah.
it, um well, this has been Cryptic Puzzle. Thanks to those of you that listened.
Yeah, man. Thanks for being
Tune
here.
in next time for more wholesome, fun video game stuff.
Yeah, go play a short hike, enjoy things, and or maybe go for a real short hike. Both of those things are good ideas.
Yeah.
It's all good for you.
Yeah.
Alright, goodbye, everyone. Enjoy.
Okay, bye-bye.